Hello everyone, good evening. Hello everyone.
Hide and seek.
Hello everyone, Gaurav will join in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Gorak is having some internet connection, so it will take 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, thank you.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Nirsa. Guys, can you hear me? Everyone?
Yes, Korak.
Hi, Gaurav.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay, everybody. I really apologize. Tried to connect with my main connection, but didn't work. So once again, I came from the cellular connection. Is it okay? My voice is okay, guys? Can you hear me properly? Yep. Okay then. So let's start then, without waiting too much, because I already wasted your time. So let's get started. We were within React state management, use state and use effect hook. Um, okay, let me share my screen. Uh, right. Let me open VS Code. We were here yesterday, right? Ready? Can you see my screen? Right.
Yes.
Okay. So what we were doing is we were talking about two hooks, use effect hook and use state hook and use effect hook. We started from use state hook and ended to use effect hook. You first need to know the syntax, right? That is really simple. Use state hook is actually these are function, right? You will call a function. For example, if you have add function, you will call a function like this, right? This is also a function. Then you will call it like a function. And with use state hook, what argument you are going to pass? This is initial value. Okay, you are passing here 0 means this is the initial value of the depth array here. You can also pass the empty array to denote that depth array as initial value, which is empty. So this is the argument which is required by this use state function. You can say this is a hook. Hook is also a function. So what is this use effect function accepting as its arguments, guys? Can somebody tell me? What are the arguments that we need to pass inside use effect function or hook? You know arguments? Arguments are
The
the value, right?
the initial
Yeah.
value and the Boolean value.
Boolean value? Where is the Boolean value?
It's a
Do we
function.
have? Oh yeah, function. What is? How many arguments is use effect hook accepting?
Two.
Right now, just one, but I think it accepts two.
Yeah, right now as well, aren't we passing two arguments here?
Yeah, we are passing two argument. One is empty array, like I mean square bracket, and one is like a function. Yeah,
You can call it what type of function?
arrow function.
Yeah, arrow function, and the other name of such kind of function is we are not calling this function from anywhere, right?
Yeah,
And it is automatically called by this use effect hook, right?
yep.
A
So what is
callback.
this function? Yeah, callback function. So you can say use effect hook is accepting two arguments. The first argument is a callback function, and the second argument is an array. Currently, it is empty. You can say this is called dependency array. So we will pass some dependency here in future. Currently, it is empty. So this is the syntax for use effect hook. Okay, you need to understand this first. Use effect hook is accepting two arguments. And use state hook is accepting first argument, which is the initial value. One argument. Okay. So any question guys until now? Maybe some of your microphone. Lisa, can you hear me? To use some of your microphone? Yeah, thank you. So yeah, this was the syntax. Guys, can somebody tell me why we are using this use state hook and use effect hook? as per your understanding? Why are we using it?
For use state, we were using, so when we click, it's there's a change in state, so we wanted to reflect that. So any events, we use state, and use effect is for getting another API. That's what I understood. So when we have to get another API, that's when we use effect. Use state is just for the same, like, I think.
Uh, yeah, what you told me is to reflect some changes on the screen, we are using use state hook when we click, when some event executes, right? In the
Exactly,
real
when there's a change in the state.
when there is a change in the variable, you can also say, right?
Uh-huh. Like
So
some event triggers and there's a change. Because this only reflects on, this only happens when there's an event, right?
so this is a state. Can you tell me, this is also a variable, right? Just a JavaScript variable, right? Data array with
Yeah.
destructuring.
Yeah.
So can you just guess or tell me the difference between a normal JavaScript variable and a variable created with use state hook? What
The
will be
the
the difference?
variable created with user state hook, if it changes, it re-renders the whole app. But if it's just a JavaScript variable, it doesn't re-renders. It doesn't re-render the whole app.
Really important one. Really important point. Yeah. Just a JavaScript variable will not re-render your component. We saw yesterday when that array is changing or when a state is changing, then your component re-renders. This is an important concept in React actually. Very, very important concept. So your normal JavaScript variable, when it changes, your component will not re-render. So when your component re-render, it will re-evaluate the code. It will re-execute this JSX. That's why you will see changes on the screen. Okay. Otherwise, with normal JavaScript variable, you will not see. Do you understand, guys, what I am trying to say here?
Yes, it it re-renders.
It re-renders. Re-renders means your DOM. DOM means you have in the
It
screen.
will update the DOM. Yeah.
It will update the DOM. It will actually, you will see changes on the screen. And those changes will be reflected without refreshing the screen. You'll see the changes in the real time. All right, so we have some error here, guys. Can you see what is this error, why it is coming? Can we just remove this error? Is there something that we are missing? Now, previously it was working with 0, I think, right? If I say, yeah, it is working with, no, not working with 0 as well. It says this date array dot map is not a function, means there is some problem within that map method right here. So this is the API result is not coming, maybe that may be the issue. And you can also print this response coming from API. I think what happened, maybe something is wrong maybe from the API. Let's see. So we console logged this death on line number 17, and it says something is wrong with the server. Maybe sometimes with free APIs, your server will not work if too many requests are sent to the server. Yeah, you can just check into the network tab. Here is a network tab to inspect the API responses. And you have this deaths here. It says 500 internal server error, means there is something error on the server. That's why we're not getting the response correctly. Yeah, you can change the API either or use another API. We have a lot of APIs, right? In the GitHub public API repository. Okay.
Can I ask you one question? Like when you say when you perform certain task, if there is another events happens by the effect of the first task, that's a side effect, right? So in the definition of side effect, use effects, it says use effect allows you to perform side effects in your component. For example, fetching data that you showed us with using API, getting UPI and updating in DOM, and etc. So that side effect, the term that has been used here to, it allows to perform side effects in the component. So what does that mean? What is the main function here and why is it called side effect? Is it a fetching a side effect is considered a secondary event?
Side effect is not that much complex actually. Let me show you here. So I'm going to comment this one. This is not working currently. Yeah. Side effect means a function can either return something, right? A function can return something. Currently, this is a use effect function, you can also say. It is a hook. So what is this use effect returning currently? If I store the result in some variable, what will I see on that result? If I console log that result, right? Can you guess what will be in the result?
Undefined.
Use effect hook.
Use effect. Yeah, undefined or something else. This is something returned from this function. This is a function, isn't it?
Yeah, but
This
it's not
is
running anything.
yeah. Use effect is a function, and inside that function we have another function. Actually, this function is not returning anything, but this is just a function call. We don't know currently whether it is returning something or not. Let's see on the console and refresh it. And here you can see coming from line number 21, it is undefined. Actually, this is a function which will not return any useful things to us. That's why we will not store the result in this way. So this is a function which will actually perform some side effect. Side effect means do something else instead of returning. Currently, what is this doing? It is fetching data from API. This is one side effect. This is also a side effect. It can also manipulate something, some variables created outside. Maybe I have this const, let's say ARR, which is array, which is empty currently. And you can also print here, which will be initially empty. Here you can see on line number 12, right? So currently this is empty. Now we can actually change this array from this function as well, right? arr.push. So we are pushing one element here into this array. Now if I save it, if I see, initially it is empty. After use effect hook is running, after use effect hook executes, this use effect hooks executes, it will be updated. So let's see, let me expand. You can see one here, or you can just console log ARR here, and you'll see initially it is empty and later it is one. So what happens is we actually changed the variable outside of this function from this function. So we created some side effect to this array. So instead of returning something from this function, we are doing something else. We are dealing with the external things, dealing with this external variable, sometimes dealing with this API. This is called side effect. When you deal with some external things, instead of just doing something within your scope, scope means this thing, okay, within this function. So if you do something and if you created effect to other thing. Like effect means we changed this variable, right? Effect means we fetched data from API here, right? So such kind of things are called side effect. It's actually a term used for those external those things which are actually are either generated by use effect hook, either mutated. You can see here, this is mutated. Mutated means this array was initially empty, now it is updated. Otherwise, we can just deal with our database as well. Sometimes we can get some data from our database. Sometimes we want to store some data in the local storage of the browser. So such kind of things are called side effects.
Yeah, thank you.
So what you mean to say is if we make changes to our array, that's what's called side effects?
One of the example, yeah. That is also a side effect. It means you are doing it from this function, right? This function. Inside this use effect hook, you are inside this another function. You are doing it essentially within that use effect hook. So that if you change some external variable from this function, we are actually changing the variable value. So we are creating effect to this variable, right? So yeah, this is also one of the example of side effect. We are creating external effect. Most of the time we create external effect, and that effect is the mostly used is dealing with APIs, fetching API. Other thing is sometimes you will actually set local storage here. So you will set some data in local storage so that your data persists on refresh. Maybe we will do that this kind of stuff later. Okay, currently you can just remember what you can remember is side effect means we are fetching some data from API, from database. That is one of the example of side effect.
Okay.
How is fetching a side effect?
That's the main task, right? You want to fetch something, and that's the main task you're trying to do. And how is it fetching a side effect? That's actually a good question that I was about to ask, but you have to. Thank you.
Can you explain that, Gaurav, please?
You need to first understand what are you doing here in this file app.js. You are creating a function. You are using this function. And let me show you. This is now I'm going in basics, okay? So this is a function. So in this I propose a function, guys. Can you tell me?
You just got
What
cut
is the
off.
main? You will take input and you will give output, right? And
Yes.
what are you doing? What are you doing here? You are taking input. Yeah, you are taking input. Currently input is this whole function, first function. This is the argument. And within that input, what are you doing? You are not only taking that input, you are now trying to get something else from somewhere else. Means you are now getting data from API. So what you should do is get input and do something with that input and give output. But you are not directly doing something with that input. You are once again requesting for more input from external environment. What is this actually? This URL. Where is this URL? Are we writing these things? Where is this database? Do we have in our code? We don't have this, right? We don't have the data. We don't have this database. Then we are requesting for something which is not within our code, or you can say not within our function here. So requesting something, creating some effect here. So such kind of things is a side effect. When you do something which is actually not within your scope, or you can say when you do something which is not within the current environment, then that is a side effect.
So
Yeah.
calling a function outside of function is side effect?
No, function is not a side effect. I'm not saying function is a side effect. Am I? This function is not a side effect.
Okay.
When you delete this code, there is no side effect now. This is absolutely fine.
Yes.
I'm trying to
Why
say
isn't
you
this
are.
you doing something here? Array that push, that's not a side effect.
Which one? This one is also a side effect. Yeah, right. When I delete this one, once again there is a side effect. Yeah, this one is also creating side effect.
So if you're calling anything inside use effect, that's a side effect.
If no, that is not side effect. If you try to request some data, which will take some time. This is taking some time, right? If you mutate a variable which is outside of this scope, this variable is outside of this function, right? This function. Outside of this function, and you are now mutating this variable, means you are adding something here. You cannot actually, you don't have to do this, right? For example, you bought a juice machine, and that juice machine is now, yeah, that is a juice maker machine. Its job is to make juice, right? Its job is to not actually help other machine to make another juice. It has to do its one job, right? Here, what we are doing is it is now changing something which is outside of this function. So such kind of things is a side effect. When you try to sometimes mute it, sometimes change the variable which is outside of that function, or when you sometimes get data from database which is taking time, which is an asynchronous event, you can say, and such kind of things.
Yeah, drinking is for mental luxury, mental things. You drink, you hope to relax it, but it's going to affect not the brain, but it will affect your liver. So it's out of the scope. That's it changes in your limbs. That's side effect.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't have to actually bother in such things, right? What is side effect? I'm not understanding. So let me just understand side effect. I think sometimes you can slightly understand something and just forget about this thing and move ahead, because we have many things, and you will eventually understand when you are doing multiple things.
Good. Yeah.
They'll relate to this thing, and I think you will eventually understand what is happening here, because we're just understanding. Yeah, this is making confusion. So okay, can we move ahead, guys?
Yeah, sure.
I have quick question.
Yeah,
In that
please.
use effect, there is a second argument, the array, empty array. What is that for?
This is currently this is preventing us from executing this function more than once, you can say. Let me save it, and you can see how many times this use effect hook is running. Let's track this line number 12. It is coming here, right? It is only executing once, and at the end, always it will execute at the end. Okay, first everything will execute, this line and these lines will execute, then this will execute at the end. Okay, this is function. Let me delete this one. This line of code will execute at the end. This is the default behavior of the use effect hook. Okay, so, and currently it is only executing once. If you remove this one, and let me save and just see what happens here. Currently as well, it is executing only once. So there is no effect, right, of adding and removing that second empty array. But if you now activate this one, maybe just activate this state updating function. The main purpose is to update our state here. Now let me add, let's say, math.random number. I'm adding random number here. to this state, that array state. So it will not work now. This line of code will not work now. That is application will break. Let me save and just see how many times is this use effect is going to execute. And now, can you see what is happening here? The number are keep on increasing and it is going on loop now. This is what we prevented yesterday. It keeps on executing, always and always, never stopping, right?
Thank you.
So to prevent this from happening, we are putting this empty dependency array here. And let me save it. It is once again executing. Now it is what? Now it is stopping the execution. So this is called a dependency array. Dependency. We will later add something here, some variable, like split something here. So what is this means is whenever such variable that you add here changes, then this use effect will run. We'll see slightly ahead such behavior. But currently what you can think is this is stopping, preventing this use effect from executing more than once. But we will add something here in this location later, okay?
But do we want that to happen, like to stop executing once?
Yeah, currently we want. Because do you want to fetch your data again and again more than once? They will
Not in
give the
this
same
case.
result. Yeah, currently I'm writing math.random, but previously I was setting this database, data coming from database. Let me go there. Here. If you run this function only once, will it work or do you want to run this function more than once?
More than once.
What will happen if you run this function more than once and only once?
We just
Can you
want
tell?
once, right?
Yeah, you want to run this function only once because you just want this data.
No,
If
we
data
want
is
all
here,
this data.
yeah, if this data is here, then why do you want to run this function? Because the main purpose of this function is to get data from API and set it to our state. That's all. If it is executed only once, then that's fine. We'll never execute. That's why currently I put empty dependency here. Later we'll see the case as well where we want this such kind of things to perform to execute more than once. At that time we will update this one as well.
So if you execute only once, we only get one data, or we get all the data. Like how many you said?
Everything coming from this API. There is
Everything, or even if you execute only once?
No. What do you mean by one data and many data here?
Meaning it had like how many deaths? Like 80, like 60 deaths or something you said? It's gonna get all the 60 deaths? Or it's only execute?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whatever comes by the API creator, how many data he wants to send. If he want to send 80 data, then let me just open this in this screen here. Then you'll see those data. Currently it is not working. Maybe the error regarding the server. Then we'll see those data here on the browser. And the same thing we'll get here on this function. Okay, whatever response coming. So response will include all of the data. Response will never actually take lesser amount or greater amount of data. It will take everything that is coming from this URL. That is a response. Response will always get the data, what is coming from there. It may have 10, 20, that depends upon the API result that you are getting. So you can just search on the screen on the Chrome and see how many data are there. And you'll get the same thing here as well. Okay, it will not sometimes get 5 data, sometimes 10 data. It will always get the same amount of data here. Yeah, that's a good question as well. Is it fine now?
So, so zero dependency is the square bracket that you have given. is the second property in the side effect, right? If it is empty, so it renders, it prints once. If you put 1, 2, it will keep on printing number of times, same data.
Saying 1, 2, we'll write something else that we haven't seen already. We will write some variable which is a dependency sometimes. Like we will not write 1, 2 number here. Okay.
Oh.
So currently this is this is an empty array, means this function here will execute once. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. So don't think too much with this one as well.
Okay.
Anything else, guys?
Just to refresh my memory, the reason we're using use effect is because we wanted to do it in the last, right? Or otherwise we could have used a regular function.
Yeah, in the last, as well as we don't want to go in that infinite loop.
Infinitely,
yeah. Yeah, we solved it yesterday by adding that click event handler as well, right? When we click, then only this set state will execute and that will be updated. Otherwise, if you write this set state, set date array inside any other normal function, then it will go in infinite loop. So yeah, we use effect. Yeah, first one is correct, that what you said. We want it to run at the end because we want to capture data from database at the end. First, we want to render our UI, user interface. And other thing is we want to run, we don't want to go in that infinite loop after we set our array. Okay. All right, most of the time you will see use effect hook is used to fetch data from your database, but we'll see more examples in future as well. We are doing many things with React, don't worry. Okay, this is just the beginning. Here, I just want you to just understand the syntax, just understand what is state, what is render and re-render means, and how is this use effect running. It is always running at the end. If you understand this much, then that's fine, I think. Okay, can we move ahead, guys?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So state is important thing, and render and re-render terms are also important. Whenever state changes, your component will re-render. This is very important point. Okay, don't forget this one. So whenever this depth array changes from somewhere, then your whole component will re-evaluated, re-rendered, you can say. Okay, and your DOM will change. So whenever you have something there, depth array is here, then your DOM will change depending upon the value of this depth array when it is changing. This is important. So we fetched something from API yesterday. Let me go to GitHub once again. I want to grab, let me source rest countries, this one. This API will provide you the information of countries, all the countries around the world. Maybe I can use region by name. Let's use this one. So if I go here and type Nepal, it will give me information of Nepal. So this is another API which is giving all the information regarding the country that you supply here. You can also use this API, right? You can just copy it and paste it here. Now your API is slightly different, right? You need to change your code according to that API response that you are getting. This response is containing an array. Inside that array, we have, let's first see how many objects we have here. Can you see what is the response? Inside here is array. Inside this array, we have how many objects? Inside this array, we have a single object, only one object. That is the first element of this array. So this is array. Inside that array, we have object. And in that object, how many property do we have? Let's see. One is name, TLD, and CCA2. Yeah, we have more properties here. Currency. Yeah, these are the properties that are inside that first object that we have. So yeah, we may have array inside array, object inside object. That may be possible. Yeah, these are the properties that are available inside that single object. These are all the properties, right? I think these are around almost, how many more? 35 items it is saying. Maybe we have 35 properties here inside that object. So let me rename this one. This one is country, let's say, and let me go back and I can select all of the occurrence of data array by Command D or Control D. On your window, it will be Control D. So country, and set country to set country in camel case. Missed the country here, 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 and here. So country is containing array. So if initially we don't want to give anything here, let's give null initially. So if country is there, if country is not there, it will be short-circuited right here. If country is there, it will go ahead. So country will get array there. Inside that array, we have a single object. What you can do instead of mapping it here, we can also map, that's fine, but what you can also do is write country and get the first element, which is that object. And now just print, let's say status. We have status coming from here, right? This is the status that I want to print, this one. I'm randomly picking something. So I need to activate this function now. And I want to change the API here, API URL. And let's save it. And let's go to, yeah, and can you see the status that is coming from that API response? So we used this REST countries API, and we actually received this status into our React application. It's very simple, right? But you need to perform one check here. If you remove this code, what will happen, guys? This is really important. Why am I removing this code? And what will happen if I remove this code and if I do not remove this code?
So if
The
they
Return button.
but like if there are
it is for short circuiting, meaning wait for the data to be populated. So if there's no data, then it's going to be null or undefined, and then it's going to short circuit here. Only when there's data, then it's going to go to the next one and then get the data first.
So here, we are waiting for the data. Why do we need to wait? Because we performed a synchronous operation. We know this asynchronous operation will execute at the end, wherever they are. Actually, use effect hook itself execute at the end. So this will, if you remove this, it will crash your application. You have errors there.
You are breaking there, Gaurav.
I'm breaking. This is not clear, guys.
Yeah, we are cutting out in between.
Can you please repeat that? I think that's important.
Is this fine now?
Now we
Yeah.
can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So what am I saying is, if you remove this line of code, it will break your application actually.
Which
So
one?
you need to perform a check. You need to perform a check whether this country is having a data or not. Okay. So what will happen? I'm asking one question here. Why is it? Okay. What will happen if I have empty array here? And if I remove this code here, or I'm not removing right now, what will happen currently? Will it work?
Array, empty array means there's no undefined.
I think country is not true, so there's no country, so it's gonna give the false value.
It should work, I think.
This is all about this line actually, right? So country, what is country initially? It is empty array, right?
Yeah.
So empty array, is empty array falsy value or truthy value?
Truthy value, right?
Truthy value, correct. Then it will go ahead here. So country 0, it is empty array. So country 0, what is country 0 then?
It's the
An
first
object.
index
Yeah, and what is the value?
First element.
officially assigned.
Right. But what is the value currently?
Officially assigned, right?
It's an
No,
object, right?
it will come later, but initially it will not come there, right? Initially, this is the synchronous event. Initially, this line needs to be executed first. Later, it will go there. I already told you this is not there currently. This use effect will actually execute at the end. It means currently it is empty, right? Country 0 is taking this
Undefined.
array. Yeah, undefined. This is undefined currently. So undefined dot something, what will happen then? Undefined
Progress.
means, yeah, undefined dot something means undefined is not an object, right? You cannot get something from undefined. You are trying to get status from undefined. So if you save it now, you'll see cannot read properties of undefined. That's the same thing what is happening. Here is undefined and you are trying to read the property status from that undefined. That's why you cannot do that. You cannot read properties of undefined. This is the problem. How can we solve this problem currently? With this check, it is not solving, right? Previously with 0, it was working, but with empty array, it is not working. We need to perform at one more check here instead of this check.
We can check if the country dot 0 had some value and is not undefined.
Oh, okay, yeah. So something like this. So
Yes, that should work.
currently it will be undefined, right? If this is undefined, it will not go ahead. So this is undefined, that's why it will not go ahead. So let me save it. Yes, it is working. Initially, it will not go ahead, but later it will go ahead, right? Later it will have some data in this location. This is truthy. That's why later it will print this line. So, or we can do something else instead of just checking for the first value, first element. We can just check the length as well, right? If the length is greater than 0, right? If we have data, then array will the length of that array will be greater than 0. We have some element in that array, isn't it?
Yeah.
Am I correct? So if we have some data in that array, then we can now go ahead. Yeah, this is once again working. Yeah, you need to actually see what is this actually? Is data here available already or not? That is really important. This depends upon the initial value as well, whether we have null or empty value, undefined, or something else like you may have initial limit. Now what should I do here? It will not work now, right? Currently, yeah, it is acting like array. This string will act like array. I told you previously, that's why it is working. But initially initially as well, it is going ahead if the country dot length is greater than 0. then go ahead. Oh, this is not good, right? So here we have country initially, which is Nepal. So country.length, let's print it here first. I think something is something is not good in this line. Maybe we will try to fix it. This is, sorry, this is needs to be 3 dots length. Country.length is 5. Later it will be 1 because later it is becoming array. So country.length is 5. So what will happen initially, guys, within this line? It is going ahead initially as well, right? Initially country.length is greater than 0 means this is true, right? It will not short circuit here. It will actually execute this line. So initially, before fetching data from API, what will it print? Can you guess?
It will count the length.
Yeah, it will count the length. It has already done. And this is not false, right? That's why it is going ahead. So what is this line? What will this print actually on the screen initially before that data is fetched from API?
The letter N would not have the property called status, so shouldn't it be undefined?
Yeah, something that's what I'm expecting here. Not with a phrase, right? So let's print that same thing here. You can always print something on the console and see on the screen here on the console. Okay, what is happening? What is this? What is coming at that time? Let's print country 0. Country 0 means letter N, right? Yes, letter N. And let's try to access some of the property of letter N. Maybe name or status. And let me save. And what is this? Undefined. Because there is nothing, right? Nothing to access. That is undefined. It will get undefined first. And if you try to access one more time, for example, one more property from there, then it will break your application at that point. So you need to make sure what is actually happening there. So currently it will print undefined at this location initially, and later it will print actual continue. Initially it was undefined, that's why undefined was not seen there. So instead of doing this check here, what you can do is if country is equals to Nepal, then if this country is equals to Nepal, then is not equals to Nepal, right? If this country is not equals to Nepal, then at that point, print this line. Else, what we can do? We can just print Nepal. We can perform this check as well. So initially it will be Nepal. You can see on slow connection here. You can just go on the network tab and on that throttling, maybe you can make slow 3G and you'll see initially that will be Nepal and later it will be officially assigned. We cannot actually see that in between, but initially it is Nepal and later it is actually this country, this thing coming from here. Actually, you can just get the data here as well, maybe from API country 0 dot name. What is this API giving us? Can we console log here? We have that's it, maybe or something like this. Okay, just a second, maybe a network problem here. Improvement. Now I need to go in the console, and here, where is the data? Actually, not here. Actually, here it is. And inside name, where is name? Inside name, I have common. That's why I need to write common here as well. It's Nepal. So depending upon the URL here, you will see the different name. Okay. Okay, guys. Any question?
So the reason,
Yeah, go ahead.
you can go ahead.
Yeah, I was a little confused with the line 24. I don't know, like when you write country 0 means you're initially not taking any country. And yeah, this is what I'm a little confused. Country is not equal to Nepal, then country 0.
You are confused with this line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Can somebody help this so that you may explain better than me what is happening at this position? Why am I writing this syntax here? Can somebody explain, please? Essentially, this is a ternary operator, right?
Yeah. You're cutting out. I'm not hearing anything. Your voice has dropped completely. Country is not equal to Nepal. Then because here it's just me. I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I think he dropped.
Do you understand what that line 24 is saying? Can you explain if you understood it? Anyone can explain.
I don't.
Okay. Button.
Okay, can I help you?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, then the thing in that line number 24 was called ternary expression. It's an like alternative to if-else statement.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So the first thing it did is if the country, if like the country is not Nepal, then print the result coming from that data. Okay, so followed by colon. Then if the country is Nepal, then print Nepal. That's the thing.
Yeah. If country is not Nepal,
Yeah,
then the ternary operator, and then the
yeah,
country, and in the bracket, like there's 0,
yeah.
and dot status dot commons, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
Does
That
not
will
make
crash the
sense.
program. Yeah, that will crash the program. If the country is not Nepal, then it will crash the program. If country is Nepal, then it will print Nepal.
Why is country.0 there? Like country in a parenthesis, like in the square bracket 0.
So it's
Yeah.
calling the first like the first object that's coming in, like at the response of.
Is the index number 0?
Yeah, index number 0, first index.
Country is okay. Country is itself an
So
array. Okay.
why is the DOM showing USA? United States.
Like we are like receiving the data at the first index, which country dot I think what's that common is like USA. That's why we are getting that USA.
Okay, okay.
And another, like in the asynchronous function out there, there is one called immediately invoke function. There's a parenthesis after the function. And at the end, like number line 18, you have a square bracket. So this is a property of and use effect, right? Means
Yeah,
you just
yeah. So what useIFIC does is like it's take two parameters. Okay, so
yeah
the first one is the like callback function, and the
yeah
second one is the dependencies, right? So we
yeah
currently don't have any dependencies, so we are like placing the square
printing
bracket to
ones
prevent, yeah, to prevent it from going to like infinite loop.
re-rendering. Okay,
That's the case.
okay. Okay, makes little sense now. Yeah. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. If you're there, just pick it up.
So in here, the use effect has two parameters. The one is async function, and two is the second is the dependency, right?
Right, yeah,
That's
right.
what you mean. Okay, okay. Oh, now I can
Use
see it.
effect takes as a parameter a function and the dependency. And the function is asynchronous function was one of the parameter, and the dependency is already as like square bracket.
So it was like
Yeah.
yesterday when like we use state and it took one variable and one function, right? So for
Yeah,
use
just
it
like that.
takes
Yes.
Like
one
At that time,
function.
we were
Let's
destructuring
see.
the array. So that's why we use the square parameter. We were destructuring the function and the state, because use state would give us the array, and we were just destructuring it into values.
Yeah.
Great discussion going.
Yeah, your voice, I don't know who is it. Gorak
your
sir
voice is
speaking?
fading
Yeah.
away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking?
Sorry, we can't hear you properly, Gorak.
Not proper, right?
Yeah, no, it's a little better.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, let me know if it is not working. Maybe something is not wrong. Okay. I'll make sure, okay? Let me know. So
Guru, can you
yeah.
expand the name property on this one? The name property. No, go back to the first window. Like on the JSON. On the JSON, you see name. Yeah, the first name. Okay.
So this is a function which will get data this line from here. You need to have a name, right? Something like get country. And you need to call this function, otherwise it will not work. You need to call this function somewhere here. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So once again, it will work. So what happens? Let me refactor this code first. Let me remove all the things which is not required. A lot of console logs here. this return statement as well. Okay, we have chunk of code within use effect, and other code will execute first line number 4 and line number 17, and then use effect hook. So can I got this from here? Since this is a function, right? This is a function. Can we store in some other location? Maybe somewhere like utils folder. Let's create service folder. Let's say services. Services means it will help us to provide, it will give some service to us. The first service is it will give data from this API. So let's write get country dot .jsc, and can I paste it here? Okay, now set country is not available here. Okay, I need to remove it because it is not available. So this is just a function which is going to provide you the country data coming from there. I need to return it, otherwise I cannot use it, right? Return is from here. So this is a separate function now. You can make it a general function, right? Just accept a name here. So just accept your name. Whatever name you are getting, just pass it here. Can I write name here, guys, at this location? I want to actually insert that name coming from that function.
No,
Can
you
I
need
do
to do
this?
no, you need to do backtick
No.
and then the curly braces and the $sign.
Backtick. Within backtick, now we can use curly brace and the $sign. And within that location, now I can only write JavaScript. Now color is changed, right? Here. So now this is a reusable function, isn't it? For any name, it will work, right?
Yeah.
And it will give data correspondingly. Now it has let's export this one from here. Export default get country. And let's import it here. Get country is not available. You can just start typing and it will provide you suggestion and it will be imported on the terminal. Right? You can just type here, right? If you don't know, then you can import it as well. But what you can do is just start typing your function name. It will come here in the suggestion. Click here, it will be imported here, and it is also available here. Now I'm going to call this function. Okay, guys, now this is really important. I'm storing this in result. And now can you tell me what will I get in this result? This is a result. What will I get in this result variable? So I need to pass country name here as well. Let's pass this in the string format.
Can you go to get country?
Okay, we'll see this one first. Let's go to get country here. Okay, let's refresh it. Okay, initially Nepal, because this is not coming from there. Okay, this is the initial value. It is sending this variable, my country. And what is that, my country?
My country, Nepal, like about Nepal, right?
Response, API response.
Okay.
My country is an API. JSON value.
That value, which is an array containing that first object. When it is fetched, right? We are waiting here. After that wait completed, it will actually store that API response there, which is an array with one object in there. And yeah, somebody told me promise as well here. Can you tell me why this is promise?
If it's not being if the fetching is not complete and if the promise is not resolved, like if the API takes too long, then at that time it will be a promise.
Otherwise, it will not be.
Otherwise, it should not be a promise. If it's already resolved, then it should be the array with like one element. Right.
I think don't go on those difficult part. First, go with the basics, I think. So what kind of code is this? Is this asynchronous or asynchronous?
Async.
Async code will
Asynchronous.
execute initially or at the end?
Oh,
And
at the end. Right.
At the end of the synchronous code, right? So that's why this is this a synchronous code or asynchronous code?
That is synchronous code.
That is a synchronous code. So it will not wait for that API. It will not actually go there. It will not reach there. It will not wait actually. That's why it will not never need reach here. So no need to worry about that if API is fast or slow, because that is asynchronous, then that will actually execute later. So it will eventually execute first. Then that asynchronous operation actually execute later. But then what will come here? There should be something here in the result, right? Something is here. Maybe undefined or null, or maybe something, some data that is
Yeah, the
coming
promise.
from this function. Correct. Yeah. This is actually really, really important. So it will tell this app, hey, I will promise you, right? It will not give data immediately. I'm going to promise you, I will give data after some time, but take my promise. That's why it will take promise from this country, get country function. It will take promise. That's why you'll see promise here. Let's see. Yeah, promise is coming, right? That's why whenever you return something from asynchronous function, async function, you will always get promise. You will not get data immediately. You will get promise. And promise is a synchronous event. That's why you are getting it. Okay. Then here is a promise. Promise will have 3 states. Initially, promise will be in pending state. You'll need to wait for some time after you receive promise, right? If somebody gave you promise, then you have to wait, right? You have to wait at least for a few millisecond, microsecond, or at least some time, or even days or years as well. So it is also giving us promise. So you need to wait. So at the state between the waiting time period after you received promise is called pending state. After you receive promise, before that promise is completed, the period is called pending state. The state is called pending state, or that the duration is called pending.
Which
You
one is
just
pending state here?
before you receive data.
Which line is, does it show any line that is pending state, or just a time lapse between?
So if you have promise, right, you are in pending state. Currently, we
Okay.
have promise here in result. Then you are in
Okay.
pending
Before you
state.
get the result, that's pending.
Right. Before you get your data or result, you are in pending state. If you have promise, then you will be initially in pending state. You need to actually go either into fulfilled state or into the rejected state. After promise is completed, after somebody completed their promise, there we will have 2 cases. Either that will be fulfilled, otherwise that promise will be rejected or not fulfilled. You'll go into state. So that is called consuming a promise. In order to consume promise, what do we need to do? Guys, can somebody tell me? What do we need to do? Yeah, it doesn't matter whether it is fulfilled or consumed.
I mean, it might be reject. Yeah.
Yeah, how can we get the final status? What do we need to do?
Then,
yeah, we have a then function. That is the first one. And we also have
catch or something.
The await.
that is created for this
given.
purpose. Yeah, async await. For async await, you need to create another function here. Isn't it? Async await is actually done with a function. We already did it here. So you need to either create another function or just write then here at the end. So here, then is a function, isn't it? I'm writing it like a function, right? Then it will have argument, some argument. Then we'll take two arguments actually. The first one is for that fulfilled state. The second one is for that rejected state. Okay. If you pass first argument, that may be something here. If you pass first thing here, this A is for pending, this B is for rejected. So then this A is nothing but another function inside this function. This is a callback function. It means you need to pass a function here. This is the first argument. And you also need
then functions should take two parameters. One is fulfill and another is reject.
Yeah, two arguments. One is for fulfilled state, another is to check the rejected status. That's right. Then those two arguments are functions. Okay. I'm writing two functions here. Can you see? Are these valid functions?
Yeah.
These are valid functions, right? So it will automatically take that fulfilled or rejected thing here, whatever you write here. Okay, you can write any variable name here. So you can write data, you can write error here. Rejected means error, right? Fulfilled means data. There is some data. Success, you can say success or failure as well. So this is error, this is the actual response. So let's try to print both of them. And let's see whether it is fulfilled or rejected. What do you think? What will happen? Will it be fulfilled or rejected?
Either fulfilled or rejected, one of them.
Will we get our promise or not? Will we get successfully receive what we want or not? Now, either of these, either line number 10 or line number 10. Yeah, yes, please.
We haven't, like, don't we usually put the resolve function after our promise?
Resolve?
Yes, because you previously mentioned that after to consume promise, we would use resolve and then.
No. Resolve is will not use here. If you want to create a promise, that may be the case. If you want to create your own promise, you will write something called resolve there. But we will most of the time not create our promise while fetching data from API. Are you going to create your own promise? Promise is already obtained from here.
Yes.
Promise is here. We want to check what is there inside that promise. Yeah. If you want to create your own promise, then you'll use results of those kind of functions. Yeah. Maybe we can see such things later. Okay, creating your own promise. That will create a lot of confusion right now. So here, either line number 13 or line number 10 will execute. So let's see. Let me say something wrong here. Data is not defined. It is coming from line number 13 here. This is data, not data. This is error. This is within this function. It should be error here. Yeah. Now let's go and see. Now line number 10 is executing, means we are successfully getting our data. Line number 13 is not executing. If there is error, then we'll see this line executes. But there is no error, that's why this line is executing. Simple, right? Let's provide error there. Let's change the country name which is not valid. Maybe we'll pass something which is not valid country name, right? Something like this. First, let's see what happens within our API. Better to use check within the API first. Sometimes API provides another response, which is actually the valid response, but we have some error message there. This is correct, but if you have some random name, and it is also giving you some data, which is a response. And at this time also, what I'm trying to say is, when you pass some random country name here, at this time also, this line executes. Let's see. Okay, something is wrong now. Oh, this is not working. We need to disable this one for now. It will not work. Maybe we can, yeah, we disable this one and write a fragment here. Yeah, at this time also something is coming from line number 10, but there we have, oh, what happens? Once again, same country is coming. Get country, oh, not here, sorry. Not at this location. This is the initial value, that's fine. Let me go one step ahead, something messed here. I need to first fix this. And this is Nepal. I'm passing some random name here. Okay, random name for the country, and let me save it. Okay, now you are getting same thing from line number 10, because that is the response coming from there. And this is this thing that browser sent for us. And let's go once again and check if you pass something different here, something something random. Let me insert something random there. And once again, this is taking something, giving something. And if you actually change the URL, now it will not give anything. And now let's try to do this and let's see if we can get some error or not. We want to see if this line executes or not, line number 13. Currently, line number 10 is only executing, means it is the promise is fulfilled actually. Promise is fulfilled. We want to see when the promise is rejected actually. Okay, this is Nepal, or you can pass any country name there. But let me change this URL. Maybe just remove this rest and just write countries. Let me save it. We go here. Now you will see the error coming from line number 13. Now this line executes because we changed the country, the API URL, which is not valid. Now your promise will not be fulfilled. Your promise will not give you some useful message. Previously, it was giving you useful message, right? Sometimes it is giving you actual data. Sometimes it is saying, hey, it is not found in our server. But currently, the server is not available. Means there is some error.
Yeah.
That's why this line executes, line number 13. That's why currently this line is not executing. So this function is for rejected purpose, rejected part. This function is for your fulfilled part. Okay, sometimes your promise got fulfilled, sometimes it is rejected. So inside this then function, we will pass two arguments. Those two arguments are once again function. One function is for fulfilled and another function is for rejected purpose. Is it fine?
Yeah.
Any question, guys? Yeah. So sometimes then method is really useful in this case. Or most of the time, you will not use this second function actually in the real world. When you work as a developer, you will not most of the time write this second function. You'll write only first function here only for fulfill part, right? But currently you don't have any fulfill part, right? So you haven't caught your promise. That's why browser is sending you a some error. But what you do in the real world is at the end, write catch. Now this will catch your errors. Instead of writing another function inside, then write this catch method at the end. Now it will accept once again function. But here you can now catch error. Let's catch that error. And let me save it here. And this is the same thing. Now line number, which line? Line number 13 once again. But this is now from catch. This is a separate part, okay? This is a separate part. You can insert as many entry as you want. And if you save it, it will work. This is a separate part. So you are catching.
Can you use multiple then and multiple catch?
Error. So in the real world, you'll use catch with then. In order to catch errors, you'll use this catch function. If you want to catch response, you will use this then function. Seems like you are confused, right?
Give us a story.
No, it's clear, Gaurav.
To me,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
okay.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for letting me know, guys. If it is creating some confusion, let me know. Maybe I can explain it in other way.
So, Gorak, why use dot catch instead of an error?
Why am I using dot catch instead of writing another function here, right?
Yes, yes. Like, what's the
Actually,
significance?
yeah, actually, sometimes you need to write multiple then here, a lot of them, a lot of them, because in between, if you are receiving promise, then you need to write then. So you'll write intermediate then here. Now I have two then. Suppose this is providing me promise, then I will capture that promise in this first then. If this then once again providing me promise, then I may capture it here. Because your first promise may give you a second promise sometimes, right? Sometimes that may happen in real world as well. Right? When you are getting such nested promise, then you'll use then here. So we will use intermediate then here. And at the end, we'll see if some error are coming from any of this promise or not. If some error is coming from here, then it will directly go here instead of going this into this two then. If some error is coming into this then it will go here. That's why instead of writing all this function in all of this then, I'm just writing it once at the end. Then I can write this then in between. So why am I writing then here? Because sometimes you may have another promise coming from the first promise. We have the same case here. If you see, we have one promise coming from here and the promise coming from here. Right? So yeah, you may want to write multiple then in between. That's why we will check at the end if some error is coming from those steps or not. And it is isolated as well, right? It is isolated with this dot. Now you can go wherever you want. It is separate part actually. It is separate. You can store it in some variable as well. This is separate part. Previously it was not separate. The function was a part of this then method actually. Now this catch is not a part of this then method. It is a separate thing. So separating something with dot means you can write it separately.
So you can say that it's a good practice to separate the then, like isolate the then method, right, from
It's
the
a good
start.
practice to write this syntax actually. Yeah, the catch.
But the catch as well is then.
No. You'll write then when you have promise. Otherwise, you will not write this, right? You'll not write then. But I'm writing this first then. Why? Because I'm getting promise here. And from the second then, am I getting promise once again? Is this data promise? The data is the exact data that I want, right? This stores the country information. If this is once again a promise, then I'll need to return it and I'll need to write one more then there. Otherwise, I'll not write. All right. So when will those two then appear? That may be question. Okay, just forget about those things right now. We'll go into those situations maybe. Okay.
Okay.
If you know this syntax with only first then that's fine as well.
Gaurav, actually, I have one question. So, it's similar to try catch expression. So, can't we use try catch here
It's similar what, Pratik?
to try catch statement?
We are going there. It's a good practice to go there. We
Yeah,
want to go there actually.
whatever you're doing, like we are doing the same thing in try catch, right?
Yeah, actually we will reach there. Just wait for a few moments. Actually, this then method is introduced in 2015 in modern JavaScript ES6, and after 2 years, async await introduced. Async await was introduced, and we can write try catch block inside async await. We'll go there actually eventually. Okay, so Can I do the same thing, this thing with then? Yeah, actually, this is asynchronous. This is the modern version. I started previously with then only, if you remember. I can actually do it right now as well. So this fetch will give you a promise. So I need to do then to capture this promise, right? Correct? Finally, I restore the result in my country variable. I'm going to implement the same thing with then now. And later, this is the modern version. That's why we'll use this sometimes later. So my country. Now, this is a promise, right? Is it a promise, guys? Is there any confusion saying this a promise? Highlighted part.
Get country, yeah. Asynchronous.
Your fetch function will always give you a promise. Okay, you need to just know that. Whatever you write here doesn't matter actually. This is the URL part. Your fetch function will always give you a promise. If you are writing fetch, then it is going to give you a promise. All right? And any confusion?
Fetch is a type of promise.
Fetch will give you a promise. Fetch is a function, right?
Yeah.
Function will give you something or not?
Yes,
It will give you something, right? It will
Yeah.
return something. So it will give you a promise actually. It will return promise. That is what I'm trying to say.
The real world scenario is like you invited a lot of friends in your party. They promised, but until they show up in the party, it's a pending. When they show up, then you do something. You drink. Then you dance. If some of them did not show up, you make a call. You catch them. You'll find the error. What happened? The traffic jam, or your car broke down, something like that. I always make an analogy to understand the concept. That
So
keeps.
we need to give some information to them as well.
Yeah. If you can, if did not, some of them did not show up, then you will make a call. Okay, why didn't you call? Come up, we are here. Then you're trying to catch the reason why some of your friends did not come to party.
Yeah, we can do that as well here.
Yeah, that kind of analogy I was think. Yeah.
Yeah, we do when we look at some of the CRUD operations in API. There we will create something, we'll update something, we will delete something as well. Currently, we are just getting. That's why that whole analogy is not applied here. Only the analogy, the status is sent in one way. There is no two-way communication here. We haven't actually seen those other operations like put operation, delete operation, update is related to put, and post as well. We'll see eventually.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is this fetch function will give you a promise. Is there any question with this statement that I'm saying?
Yeah, it's bring some liquid. That's a promise. It will promise. It will. It is a promise. It is giving you a promise.
It's giving a promise. Always fetch function will always give you a
When you
promise.
come to party, bring a liquid with you. That's a promise. Okay. Yes, I'll bring. Fetch is a bring.
So this is giving a, so when you say fetch, it's giving a promise. Okay, I get that. And
yeah,
and let's go. And we need to capture it, right? To capture it, we will use then. So we will see the status inside then. Inside then, we will pass a function. First function is for the result part. Let's see. Let's see the response. We can write anything, right? Let's go and see what is this response actually.
your screen is frozen, or I don't know what's going on. I'm seeing get country.js. Hello?
Yeah, it's definitely there's some problem.
There's some problem.
Your screen is visible, but it's frozen there.
Screen is frozen and we can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, let's
Just give me a
discuss
second.
about this promise and ourselves. We'll make better understanding by discussing like we did last time. So whenever we write async await with a fetch function, it promised to give some data, right? That's why it's a promise. Right? I don't know. Some of you might have a better explanation for it, if I'm not wrong.
It's for my understanding, the promise is only about, the fetch. When there is fetch, there's a promise. Sync, wait, those are the, when you are executing the function, those are not dependent upon the promise. It's for my understanding.
Can you repeat that again? The fetch is just a promise, and whereas what was the other part?
Yeah, and async and await, those are like, when you want to execute some function, uh, it guides you. Fetch is only for, like, the fetch and promise are, those are related. Like when you put fetch function, then there is a promise. And then when you async await, those are only for, like, uh, like when you wanna execute that function.
After
You wanna wait, you wanna do it first, you wanna do it second, you wanna do, like, wait for a lifetime,
yeah,
those it does.
okay,
So that's simple as,
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Is it fine now, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
My screen is also there, right?
yeah,
Um,
Can you see
app.js, I
my
think.
screen? Yeah, right. I'm highlighting something. Can you see it?
No,
No?
no,
Oh, no. See, whatever I'm writing here or not.
we don't see anything writing.
Right? So what I'm trying to do here is, I'll just give you one thing, then maybe you need to do it, and maybe I'll see that in the GitHub. So currently, you need to implement this same thing. You can't see my screen, right, anymore? Can you see my getCountry.js?
No, your screen is
no,
not there.
you just,
Now we cannot see your screen at all.
Oh, okay. I think I disabled it. Sorry. So this is the code that I wrote already. I'm sending in. Yeah, I'm sending in the chat. Can you see?
let's have a break.
Let-
Yeah,
Yeah. I think there is some connection issue here.
it's
is it
not coming in the
Ansel?
chat also.
Is it Ansel data or NTV?
Actually, I'm sending, but it is not sent, I think. So what I'm trying to say is, there in get country, you have a block of code. I'm going to send it in GitHub. You'll get that code from there. So you need to convert that code to, without using async await. You need to use then method to actually get the same output. You need to convert that block of code only using then method.
So don't use async. Oh wait.
Do not use async await. Yeah. Do you think you can try that? Let me send this code to GitHub. Just give me. Yeah, I have sent the code in GitHub, guys. Can you check my branch? Can you go in GitHub and check my branch? Go in the branch name called main and check my name. I have sent that code in my branch, in my Gorak branch. Can you see that?
So we just do git pull and get the code.
Yeah, you can do that, but better to go within that same branch and just copy the code, just that block. You just want that block only.
Okay, it's underneath Gorak, right? You said.
Yeah, right. Inside there, you need to go inside basic React folder, and there go inside services and go inside getCountry.js. Okay.
Is it async a function, get country name, JSON data? Okay.
Yeah, just convert this line of code, line number 1 to line number 5, into dot then without using async await. Okay, guys, can you do you think you can try this? Yeah, if you want some break as well, maybe we'll meet after break and we'll try this one. Guys, what do you think?
I need a break actually.
You said
Yeah,
it's underneath Gorak FDB4.
Correct. You need to go inside my branch, my own name. There can you see Gorak branch?
Yeah,
Inside FDX.
yeah, I'm there, but I don't see it. I see VS Code, README. I don't see anything that's today. It just says from yesterday to 20 days ago.
No, you have to go to branch, not name. The branch.
Oh, okay.
And then in branch, there are several names. There's a Gorak. You just have to select Gorak, and few seconds ago, it committed.
Okay.
Can somebody send the name of the repo as well on the chat, guys?
3 minutes ago. Okay, I see it. Okay, I see it grow up for.
Yeah. Yeah, let's take some break, guys. Maybe we'll meet after a few minutes and continue. I may not continue for more time today. Maybe we'll do around 10 to 15 minutes more after break. Okay, I'm just here. Just let's meet after 5 or 6 minutes, or maybe 5-7 minutes. And if somebody need help, then just ask me. I'm here, guys. Hello everyone, are we here, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, Prasida, did you try converting it to the dot then? Replacing
No, I couldn't understand.
Maybe I can help you after a few minutes.
Okay,
Just wait.
sure. Yeah, thank you.
Is somebody able to do that here? Then create a pull request, guys, so that I can see it on GitHub and merge it to my branch. Okay. Can everybody create a pull request until now? Is there someone who cannot create a pull request, who don't understand what I mean by creating a pull request? Can you just raise your hand so that I can explain it as well sometimes later? Yeah, if you just raise your hand, then it will help me to re-explain once again. Yeah, is there somebody who don't understand how to create a pull request, who cannot create a pull request? Yeah. Okay, Mukund, yeah, thank you. Yeah, guys, simply raise your hand. If more of you raise your hand, then I will explain it a little more as well. Yeah. Alan, thank you. Samyak, Prasida, thank you. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, Priyanka. Okay, yeah. All right. Maybe we'll see regarding the pull request as well. Maybe after, not today, maybe tomorrow, but I'll explain it once again. Okay, but if somebody can create a pull request right now, convert that code to a sync await, then it will help me as well. So my connection is not that much good. I think it will be stable after few minutes. I'm not sure. So I'm just waiting your answer. Or maybe somebody can share their screen so that I can help. Okay, is somebody here who is trying to convert that line of code, sync await into .den? Are you trying to do somebody? Yeah, is my voice properly audible, everyone? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me give you some hint there. What you need to do is, you need to just comment that function, call function first, disable that function or sync await function, and then write dot then method at the end of fetch. So right now you have fetch there, right? Fetch function. Right. First you will write the fetch function, right? Inside fetch function you have that URL. Am I correct?
Yes.
URL, maybe you can just write direct URL currently. Replace that JavaScript variable and directly write Nepal or any country name there. Okay, you don't have to dynamically accept it currently. And after that fetch is giving you promise all the time. Fetch will always give you a promise. That is a default built-in JavaScript, default built-in browser API function, which will always give you a promise. Then if there is a promise, how can you consume it? Can somebody tell me how can you consume it? How can you check what is the status of the promise after some time?
Then
Yeah, there are two methods. The first one is
then
dot then, using dot then method, and another way is
dot error.
yeah, dot then and dot error are just to check the status of the same fetch, right? There is another method to do the same thing. You just commented it previously, We have already implemented it.
Await.
Async await, yeah. It means async await is just the another alternative of dot then method. You can say async await is another way of writing dot then. Actually, that is correct. Async await is just the implementation over dot then method, which will help you easily write your code. It means you can either write dot then or async await, right? If they are solving the same thing, yeah, you can either write dot then method or write async await. Both of them will work. So what I'm trying to say here is first write dot then method, then later we'll write async await. We'll see what are the benefit, which one is good. But they are both solving the same issue, the same problem. The problem is to capture the response or error from the promise. We want to capture it, right? Now, after that fetch method, what you need to do is just write then method once again, then function. After fetch function, just write then function and see what you receive inside that then function. You need to pass another function, right? So can you do until this point? Can you see what is coming inside that then function? What is the response coming there? Can you console log and see on the screen?
Just checking, are you sharing your screen?
Currently I'm not. It will be easy if somebody of you can share their screen. Easy for me. Can somebody share their screen? Currently, if I share my screen, then it will actually freeze out everything.
I can share, yeah.
Yeah, please, please. Okay, currently you are here inside getCountry.js. Comment everything from line number 1 to line number 5. We are doing this in other alternative way using .then method. Okay, now just create some variable. You can create getCountry as well. Okay, in that getCountry, you need to, yeah, no, this is not a function. This is just a variable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, getCountry equals. Yeah, now you use fetch. You can copy the fetch from above. Copy that fetch and paste it here. All right. Yeah. So I told you that this fetch is going to give you a promise all the time. That's why you are using then there. Yeah, right. Yeah, you are right. You can write then there. So can you complete this then? What is the syntax of then method? Then is a function, right?
Yeah.
And somebody can please help him if something is wrong there. Okay. So if somebody of you help, then it will be easy for you as well to understand it better. You are passing one function inside then. That's right. Yeah, another function inside then.
It's fine.
Go to get country. Get country. Maybe your syntax is not correct here. Remove that function first and see. Yeah, now it's fine. There
It's
is
fine,
a
yeah.
missing print. Yeah, it's fine. Right. Sorry. Okay. So what should we do inside this function then? Console log what?
I just wrote it.
Yeah, no worries.
What do I
You can
do?
look on the afterwards. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. This is how we actually understand, right?
So you're sending a data in there.
Yeah, you can write any variable. Currently, I am writing data there. You can write anything, any name there. You can write response. You can just write res there inside this parenthesis, right? Inside that then. Okay, see what is that response there? I think
You want
my
to run this?
connection will now. Now be better, I think. Yeah. Okay, now it will not run because it is exported here as a variable, but in the app.js, you are using it like a function. Can you go inside app.js? Go inside app.js. And here you are using it like a function on line number 8. That's why it is not working. Actually, you need to comment all the things from line number 8 to 16. Comment everything. And yeah, comment it. And copy that code from get country. Go into get country. I think you commented that that parenthesis and just uncomment line number 16 from app.js. Line number 16. Okay. Now go to getCountry.js and copy the code that you just wrote. A whole code from line number 7 to line number 11 with variable as well. Copy this one and get it inside app.js. Go inside app.js and paste after line number 15. Okay. Okay, now console log. Okay, get country is here. It is just a variable. Okay, now see what is coming on the screen. Maybe you can see on the browser now. There was some error, right?
Yeah, let me refresh.
Okay, let me share my. Okay, now it's fine. Right. So you are getting in line number 9 there response and line number 19 response as well. This is the data is not here, right? Data is not here yet. We have response.
Oh, okay.
From this point, I'll share my screen and you can follow me. I think it will be better now. My screen will be better. Let me know if it is still frozen. Can you see my screen, guys? My VS Code. What is VS Code?
Yes.
A lot of things.
Not yet.
VS Code. Not it. Okay. Can you see my VS Code now?
Yes.
Okay. So what you did is you commented everything here, and you are writing a fetch here. And I'm going to copy this URL from here. Okay, that's fine. Inside here, I'll write country name directly. Okay. Now this fits. This is the final output. You can say anything. And if I now console log this output, what will you see on the output? What is this output?
Promise.
Promise, yeah. So this is a promise. Actually, we want to resolve this promise. Now I can write dot then here, right? To resolve this promise, right? So dot then, inside dot then, I need to write another function. So let's see what is coming here. Let me grab that in this variable. You can grab it in any variable. Okay, let's see on console log. What is this res here? Let me print. Previously it was promise. Currently it is something called response. But where is that data? Where is this data coming from API? Where is this data? We don't see this data, right? Here. This is not available yet, right? Is it?
Can you repeat again?
Response here. I was expecting the data from API, this data, right? But it is not available here in the console 8. Right? Can you see the data somewhere?
No.
It means data. No, we don't have it. So actually, this is a JSON format. That's why we are not seeing data immediately. We are not seeing it. We are not seeing this data immediately here. What you need to do is convert this res is in JSON format actually. That's why you are not seeing it. Convert this to JavaScript object by writing res.json. Okay, so then we'll get data. Let's see. First, final data. Let's say we are expecting data here, right? Final data. We converted because I told you that this is a JSON format. That's why we are doing res.json to convert it to JavaScript object. Now, if we convert that to JavaScript object, we need to see data here, right? Am I right? If you convert it to JavaScript object, then we will see. What is that final data actually? What's that final data?
The array with one element.
You can see on the screen, right? It is coming from line number 19, final data, printing here. It's promise once again, isn't it? It's a promise, right? So when you try to convert your JSON data to JavaScript object, it will give you another promise. Now we have one promise inside another promise, a nested promise, you can say. Previously, we are trying to solve this promise. Now we got another promise here. This is what I was trying to say previously. Okay, when you get promise, what you will do? You will once again write dot then, right? Right? When you try to consume your promise, you have two solutions, two way to do. One is to go with dot then, another way to go with async await. Currently, we are doing it with dot then. So we are getting promise at this location. So we need to use dot then. So where do we need to use dot then? Here at this location? No, not here. Actually, what you will do is, where are we? Currently, we are inside a function here. We are inside a function. We will return it. We will return whatever coming in final data. This is a promise. We will return a promise. Return a promise. This is a promise. So here, after this outer bracket, after this bracket, here, after this parenthesis, we will use another dot then to capture this promise coming from here. So we are using one more than there. Now you can write anything there. You can write another response, res2, something like that, right? Better to write the actual name, the output data as well. Let's see what is there inside res2 now. So we have two then here. One then is to capture this promise, right? Correct? This promise. Is my screen frozen, guys?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
It's good. It's good.
This then is to capture this promise. And this then is to capture this promise. Final data is also a promise, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we are writing to then there. Whenever you write then, you are trying to capture a promise. You are trying to see what is inside that promise. What is the data? What is the result of that promise? What is the final output coming from that promise, whether it is fulfilled or rejected? Whenever you want to see the result, then you will use dot then method. Previously, we want to see result coming from fetch. That's why we used dot then here. Now we want to see the result coming from final data. That's why we are using another dot then here. And let me save it now. And here we have data coming from line number 22 finally. Finally, our data is coming from here. Okay, so we have this data coming here finally.
So earlier it was coming outside. That's what you mean?
This is not actually data. This is a JSON format actually. We saw it, right? Let me show you once again. Outside was this Actually, we converted it already. I need to see the rest, right? Earlier, it was not data actually. Earlier, we are seeing something like this. We don't have data. This is actually the JSON response. Okay, your API will provide you JSON response. You need to once again convert it to JavaScript object.
JSON object.
Yeah, this is a JSON object, you can say.
And then you're trying to convert to JavaScript object.
All right, when you try to convert a JSON object to JavaScript object, you will once again receive a promise. Yeah, here we are receiving a promise. That's why we are using another thing. Okay, now finally we are getting data here, right? You can return once again from here. So guys, if you return something from then method, then it will not directly come here. It will once again return as a, so this is the asynchronous operation, whatever I am highlighting here right now. And this is a synchronous operation. Synchronous means immediately you will receive a promise. Immediately, whenever you are receiving a promise, that is a synchronous. Here you are receiving a promise immediately. But if you are receiving some data later, then that will be a synchronous operation. You can make this shorter as well. You don't need to write return statement with arrow function, right? You don't need to write it. You can directly return data from here. Finally, we are returning data that we are getting. And you don't need to write this return as well. Oh, we need to write it? No, we can directly return it here within a single line. So if you directly write this here with arrow function without curly brace, then that will be by default return. Okay, now this code is slightly better. Here with this line of code, we are converting our JSON to JavaScript object, and that will give you one more promise. That's why we are writing another then. Finally, we are receiving data here. Now this data needs to be stored in this output, maybe, but when you console log that output, you'll get promise immediately. You will not get that data. So if I just copy this code, actually I asked you to replace your previous code here, right? Now if I copy this code here, and whatever you are doing here is same thing, whatever you are doing here. This is the solution with async await. This is the solution with dot then method. Okay, what you can do is this is data, right? So maybe here you can write some variable, right? Const country, and here initially there is nothing. If let keyword, let's say initially there is nothing. Now we have data here. Now let's set this my country to data. And finally, let's return this. Instead of returning get country, let's return my country here. And this my country will go here. We are returning my country. So let's console log that one. My country, and it's coming from here. And initially it is undefined. Why? Why is this undefined initially? Because we are not getting that data initially. We are not getting this data. That's why it is initially not initialized with any value. Initially it is undefined. It will give some data later. That's why we cannot get data immediately in this way. Okay, but what happens if I try to return this data directly from here without storing in external variable data, and instead of writing my country outside, let me make this my country. And now I'm providing my country from here. Now my country is coming here. Now it is once again a promise. Okay, so whenever you have promise, what will you do? What you do right at the end?
Then.
Yeah, then method. then method, and inside here capture that result coming from that promise. So let's see what is the result coming from that promise. And if I save it now, the final result inside this promise is actually the data from API. Now both of them are doing the same thing. Previously, this function was giving a data. Now this is giving you a data. This is the same implementation. This one is the same implementation of this async await function. You can either do it with .then or do it with async await. And we are now capturing this. Previously, we are seeing this result in use effect. Now you can also do the same thing. You can see the result in use effect. We have this data coming here. So you can either do this way or disable this one. Disable this one, activate the other one, do it with async await. This is really easy to write instead of writing this then method, right? A function, right? Only async and await keyword. Just a function. Here with then method, you need to remember something like this, another function inside then method. So where do I need to write that catch? This is slightly difficult to write. This is slightly easy to write. So we are sending this get country from here now. Now I will get that country instead of now getting this code here. Now I'll disable this one, and I'm going to. I have already received this get country. Now we can print this get country somewhere. Maybe maybe I have already. So what is this get country? If I print this get country directly, this get country is a function, right? I need to call that function. And get country is accepting a name as well. Let me send name. What do you think? What will I get here on the console log? I'm calling this function. This function is here. It will receive that name, and it has finally returned something. So what will I see on the console?
Object.
Object, okay. But you missed something, right? Here. This is asynchronous operation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It will not immediately work. That's why you will not immediately receive something here, something coming from here.
Promise.
Yeah, you will receive promise initially. So whenever you return something from async await function, you will receive a promise. Okay, so where is that console log? I deleted that. Yeah, here. So when you call this get country, then you'll first receive a promise. Now, what should we do to get data from that promise once again?
Then.
Yeah, either use then or same thing, right? Either use then. Another way is async await. We can do any of those. If you want to use async await, you need to create a function. You need to create another function here. Get data, something like that. We need to create another function, which is once again async. We are creating two async await. One is here and one is here. This is just to capture the result. So in this async await function, we will finally call this and wait for the execution. Wait. And this is actually the country data. You can just print your country data here. Okay, so now we will get the data, but we haven't called this function. We need to call it, right? It will not execute. Now we receive data. Either you do this one, either you write this line of code, or you can directly write .then here. .then. These are the same thing. .then, another function in here. This is the response, and console log the response. You don't need another console log outside.
So doing that, you don't. Okay.
Then either you write this code or you write this code. Both of them will give you data coming from that async await function.
Get country, then console as.
So Gorak, so we cannot just to be sure, we cannot write uh line number 23 by itself, right?
No, you cannot write this line alone without async await function.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to put it inside async await.
Okay.
Okay. But in modern JavaScript, actually, this year, I think, or last year, we are able to write it here on the top. But we are trying to use it inside use effect hook, right? That's why you cannot write directly there. You need to create a function, a sync function, and write it inside there.
So Gorak, what's the best way to is it using the await await or using then?
Yeah,
To
sometimes you need to use dot then, but most of the time you will use async await.
async await?
Yeah.
Yes, it's the more modern
Modern, and
approach
this
to
is the
deal with it.
example.
Okay.
All right.
And we captured error here with class, right? You remember?
Yeah.
Here we wrote error. I'm directly console logging right now. Console log error. We capture error with dot then using catch. Similarly, inside async await, we can use try catch block. Okay, we can use try catch block. This is like a if else statement. Try catch, try and catch. We write something inside try, and if there is some error, we write it inside catch. We will write all of our code inside try block here. If that fails, we will go inside catch. Okay, this is the same thing. Either you do this way or you do this way with try catch block, and this is mostly used. Okay, you will get your response here if you have, unless you have error. If you have error, you will receive your error here. This will not execute. Right?
Yeah, I'm not getting how that async await does the same async await function do the same as then in
This will do the same work. Async await means waiting. Dot then means also waiting.
yeah.
And what is the thing that you are not understanding?
Dot then is then you give something you immediately uh,
No.
trying to get the
Yeah.
data result.
Okay,
But
dot then here, whatever I'm writing is similar writing async await. You need to write await keyword. Without writing await, if you write only async, it will also not work. Okay.
yeah,
Await means sync and await. The combination is same as writing dot then here. Okay. Actually, this is the modern function. Behind the scene, it is using dot then actually. Behind the scene. You can say it like a modern machine, but internally it is using the old logic, you can say.
okay.
Yeah. This is actually the implementation of over dot then method. You can say such things are like a syntactic sugar. If something is built on the top of something else, then it is actually behind the scene using dot then, but we cannot see it. We can treat it like a function. This is the same implementation. Async await is the implementation over dot then method. Right?
All right.
Okay, I think I will end this session here for today. Maybe we'll do more things tomorrow. So how was the session today, right? Besides the problem that I'm facing regarding internet connection, regarding this async await, how do you feel? How you
Concept
feel?
is a little abstract, but you tried your best, and we are trying to get the concept and understand the syntax.
Yeah, and
Maybe
did you?
some people from the computer science background, they might have better explanation, and they can explain it to us if they would like.
I
Sometimes,
think
friends, other people might explain a better way.
I think it matters. It matters unless you do something which is practical.
Yeah.
If you don't build your product or application, it doesn't matter if you spend 1 year learning async await the depth concept. Yeah, you cannot build a real application. If you build a real application, you'll immediately understand what is happening here.
Okay.
So yeah, unless we build something, it will not make 100% clear, but it will somehow make sense while you are building real application. Oh,
Okay.
something more there. Otherwise, you can try doing your own work as well. I'm seeing most of you are building your own project. Most of you are creating your own React application already. Some of you are creating e-commerce application. Some of you are creating one blog application with React. I can see actually. Sometimes I talk with you, and most of you are actually working with your own project. Maybe if somebody of you are not working with your own project, better to do it right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it will help you sometimes ask some questions as well. Hey, I'm doing these things and not working. Yeah. Then we can sit and
Okay.
discuss.
All right.
Okay, guys. So I'll leave here today, and tomorrow we'll continue more things. Tomorrow, let's practice some more JavaScript things as well. Data structure algorithm things. We need to understand the space-time complexity logic. Actually, what is that thing? Why do we need to write better code always? What code we need to actually not write? What is the code that we need to write? What type of code is good? What type of code is bad? We need to discuss about that thing as well. Then we will move ahead. Maybe we will also build one React application because we know how to fetch data from API, right? You know how to write HTML, we know how to write CSS. Then we can build one application now, maybe to show something on the screen, useful thing on the screen, instead of throwing randomly on this console, right? We can build something useful here. Maybe we can do that project and move ahead.
All right. Thank you, Gaurav.
All right. Okay. So I'll meet you tomorrow, guys. Let me know if you
Thank
have
you.
some questions. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you,
See you.
Gaurav.
Bye.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Gaurav.
Thanks, Gaurav.
Gaurav, please push the code.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll post the code. Thank you, guys.